Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Deep Cat's Reactions, and my name's Greg. And man, I've been listening to this artist, Bruce Cockburn, he's a Canadian artist, and I just discovered him. But he's been making music for 40 years, so I'm presuming there's a huge catalog there that I have just barely scratched the surface. So anyway, I thought this might be kind of cool. He's on Austin City Limits here, which is always a great venue. And he's doing the song Kit Carson. And I was curious about this because, I know this guy is very socially conscious. And Kit Carson was kind of an asshole. He really was. And it's funny, I had a friend back in high school, he and his brother both, they were descended from Kit Carson. And, they were really proud of it. And, were into the history and all that sort of stuff. And, when I got much older and started looking into some of this stuff, it's like, shit, man, that's weird. There's a lot of people in American history that were supposed heroes, and they weren't. So let's just see what he does with this song here. Bruce Cockburn, Kit Carson.
When I was a kid, Saturday mornings were characterized by what were even then ancient westerns on TV. And one of the characters that figured in those westerns very often was a guy named Kit Carson, who always wore a white hat. And the worst thing he ever did in those movies was shoot the nasty buffalo that got in the way of our train. When I was out in Arizona a couple of years ago, I met a Navajo fellow who was telling me about the real story of Kit Carson. It was somewhat less benign and less innocuous. In fact, he appears to have been the precursor of, dare I say it, Oliver North, or in his own small way, He made friends with the Navajo people and learned all he could about them, and then when it was time for the U.S. government to remove them from their lands, he led the cavalry to their villages, which were burned, the water holes were poisoned, people were slaughtered. So it seemed to me that this sort of little bit of myth-shattering deserved a memento. And I thought I'd try to write a song in the style of those old songs that would normally celebrate a guy like that, but in this case, well, you'll hear what it does. I hope his relatives aren't here. And if you are, I hope you're awfully kind and forgiving. This is Kit Carson. President said to Kit Carson, take my best 4 horsemen, please, and ride out to the 4 directions. Make my great lands barren for me. Make my great lands barren for me. Kit Carson said to the president, you've made your offer sweet. I'll accept this task you set for me. My fall's not yet complete. My fall's not yet complete. before. He'd made the grade, he'd learned to trade in famine, pestilence, and war. Famine, pestilence, and war. Kid Carson was a hero to some, with his poison and his flame. But somewhere there's a restless ghost that used to bear his name. That used to bear his name. But somewhere there's a restless ghost that used to bear his name. That used to bear his name.
Cut the crowd noise there. Man, that was awfully good. I love the way he plays guitar. You know, his finger picking and stylings. You know, he uses that thumb on the lower string, and God, it gives a great tone to it. I mean, he works on those low strings a lot, and it's just it gives a unique styling to it. You know, I really love it. And then the guy over there on slide guitar, he's really good, and some of the sounds that he makes with that slide are unusual, let's put it that way, and emphasize what Bruce is singing about. I don't know, it's weird, you know, I've spent a lot of time on the Navajo reservation. My ex used to live there. She was a teacher at the way up on the reservation. I mean, you know, she had to travel, I don't know, about 30 miles every morning to go to work. And it's not like 30 miles on the highway, you know, it was a dirt road. So it was crap. And then they'd go out there, and there's absolutely nothing out there. I mean, it's just incredible. The kids would, you know, come to school, and once a week they would get a bath at school or get a shower, you know, because they sure didn't have running water at home. They didn't have running water, no electricity. You might say gas, you know, from propane, but that was it. You know, you're living in a hogun. It's primitive out there, and the Navajo reservation is huge. I mean, it's as big as a lot of states. You know, so and like with so many tribes, you know, Kit Carson, yeah, he made a move. You know, he from their native lands, he poisoned the wells, burned all the villages, and you know, then forced them to walk to Fort Defiance. It was pretty brutal. And even now, you know, it's one of those deals where they give the Indians the shittiest land that they can find, and then later they find out that, oh, there's value there. So there's been all this these issues with coal mining and you know, drilling for oil and natural gas, and the big one is uranium. You know, and when the uranium mines were open, man, all these Navajos worked there because, you know, it was good money working in the mine, and you know, provided opportunities for them. But you know, in later years, they started dying of cancer. You know, so yeah, maybe that job wasn't so great. But yeah, it's a whole different world out there. You know, third world, you might say, right here in the United States. You know, people don't like to think about that kind of thing. Anyway, I hope you liked that, and I will be back. So hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you all then. Bye-bye.